All right, we're back here on Sunrise. We're still sending big shout-outs to all our Sunrise Peppers. Now, this morning, we will be talking about life after PEP. What's next? What to expect? Career advancement coach at NexxStepp Lifelong Educational Services, Tishauna Mullings, joins us with her foolproof guide for parents and students to ensure the transition from prep and primary school to high school is a smooth one. Welcome to Sunrise. Welcome back to Sunrise, Tishauna. How are you doing?
Always a pleasure to be on Sunrise.
Tishauna, you know I'm taking all the notes today. So Dennis is going to ask the questions.
Yes,
because Dennis said the notes.
You have a pepper.
I have a pepper. Or had.
Very good, very good. It's over. Tell us about, you know, what phase they're in now. They're in that phase of finally done and them get the results. So there's that feeling of relief.
Exhalation.
You know, but as Yendi said yesterday, you know, Izzy is all about just wanting to go next. How important is it to manage them through the process of relaxation and having a transition?
Well, first of all, let's just commend them because they went through so much.
Yes.
The after school, all the extra studies, the long nights, the long days, and now they can finally exhale and prepare for the big journey that is high school. So they have summer ahead of them, so I know a lot of them are excited. 90% of them got the school of their choice, and then there's a 10% that we'll talk about later, but all of them did so very well. So I want to encourage them to really enjoy the summer.
Yes.
Use the time to prepare for what is coming up because high school is a whole new world, lots more subjects, a bigger environment, lots to prepare for. So we want to allow them to exhale, give them some special treats over the summer, and really help with that mental preparation for the new environment that they're going into.
Is this the summer where we just kind of throw caution to the wind and say, go live your best picnic life? Or do I still need to be like, go pick up a book?
Well, you always need to pick up a book. You see that tone that you went into? That's the Jamaican thing, you know, when they say, go pick up a book. It's a fun experience. So you want to say, you know, in between everything else, you know, we want to encourage a culture of scholarship, because I feel like I was saying to somebody, it's almost like there's a poverty of the mind. It's like we sit for hours, we scroll through TikTok, we scroll through Instagram. We're just looking for the jokes and the fun stuff, and the culture where it's natural to be cerebral and want to feed your mind with something substantial is not really there. So what I'm encouraging is that we encourage that balance.
Yes, always.
So they need to have fun, go to the beach, play the games, but in between, we want to develop that natural need, wanting to actually, you know, develop your mind and look at something substantial, you know, develop an area of interest, something that you love. Some children love animal, some people love fashion, and there are many layers to fashion, actually, sustainable fashion. So encourage them to find that area of interest that they naturally want to deepen their knowledge in.
What would you suggest parents do? I mean, because maybe grade 1 to 6 every summer, like summer school, school something, and then in high school, like summer school, like, but like between grade 6 and 7, do you send them out to us, or do you just activities?
I mean, I'm going to do a high school preparation event. It's going to be like a 3-day event.
Nice.
And there are a number of organizations that does do high school preparation events because, you know, the peer pressure intensifies in high school. A lot of them have started puberty in primary school. Those who didn't start, it's almost obvious that they'll be going through puberty during high school. And there's also a lot of finding your identity and who you are, getting used to concepts like core values. Some of them were fast starters, you know, like the little geniuses that I brought here.
Yes,
and they whop you in that quiz off, right? But some of them are just coming into a knowing and understanding of what is core values, what do I stand for, when things come to me that I'm not interested, how do I say these are my standards, what are standards even? So there's a whole mental preparation, you know, and then even the pressure. Let's not assume that because PEP was so intense, they are ready. So to go from where you're in one classroom with one main classroom teacher, and probably they hop into different rooms. You have a different teacher for every different
you
subject.
gel with this teacher, but you don't gel with that teacher.
Exactly.
And so,
And teachers have different personalities. A lot
Different
of people
teaching
tell
styles,
you that there was one teacher on my journey that revolutionized everything for me for the better, but there's also the stories on the other side.
Yes.
I wanted to be a doctor, but then I had a science teacher that was just the worst, and that actually shifted my entire career. That mental grounding is something that we really have to prepare them for.
Nice.
Let's talk a bit about the academic goals for high school. I feel like, you know, the subject areas were very specific in prep school, and when you go into high school now, there's so many more subjects on offer. There's so much more that you're going to dabble in, especially in the first 3 years before you hone in on your area, which, by the way, don't get me started on that. I think it's so bizarre that when you think about it, we were actually 14 when we chose our subjects for our career path. Hello. That's another subject.
At 14,
Listen. But they are going to go into so much more. How do we prepare them for what is to come academically? Not to be overwhelmed, but to still be excited by learning when the material is going to be so much more.
Yeah, and let's talk about that broader context that they're preparing for.
Yeah.
Recently, I was leading a panel at the Jamaica Productivity Center, Ministry of Labor and Social Security. They were talking about consistent transformation in technology and AI and what that means for how we're actually preparing our children. Right? So I think the fact that they're doing many subjects, I want them to just see it as exploration, and I want to talk directly to them now. So you're doing math, you're doing computer sciences, you're being introduced to history. Just look at that as a broadening of your spectrum of knowledge so that you have a wide understanding of the world that you're going into. Because perspective is everything. If it's like, oh my God, I'm doing 18 subjects, and sometimes when you look at the sizes of the school bag, you wonder, right? So many schools have, put programs in to actually alleviate that pressure on their backs and so on. But just look at it as, I'm getting a broad understanding of the world that I'm in, so that when I'm ready to actually zoning on my area, I have an idea where I'm going.
In each area.
And the truth is, I mean, you might do some subjects in high school and probably change your mind a little bit in university. It's fine.
It's all guaranteed.
I mean, adults are pivoting and switching careers and moving from law to medicine.
Exactly.
So you're living.
That's okay too.
You're in a world of possibilities. I mean, it's the 21st century.
Let me ask you finally before we go. Not every child is in Izzy's position where they're in tears because they got the school of their dreams. You have people who were convinced I was born to be a Wolmerian, and their results tell them, no, you're going to go to school X. How do you as a parent now lift that child up from that crushing feeling? Don't make them feel bad. And motivate them to grow where they're planted.
Yeah, and that's what we ought to do. So the popular saying that says bloom where you're planted. I mean, you can do well anywhere. I had a mentee that was a little older, and he was so bent on going straight to his PhD because, it's the thing to do. But what I want to encourage parents, wherever your child is placed, just really encourage that child. I know people that have gone to every kind of school you can imagine, and they have done well. So you doing well in life is not tagged to the school that you have gone to. And a lot of time the pressure really comes from the parents or the family. Because I went to that school, your brother went to that school, your great-grandmother went to that school, you have to also go to that school. But maybe that child is just the one that's going to switch things in the family in many ways.
Okay too.
So just keep encouraging them, and especially if they're going into a school that is known to be a school that have greater challenges, they're going to need to have even greater fortitude. So they need your support and encouragement more than ever.
And I think we have to realize too that we can't live vicariously through our children. Our children have to live their lives and their paths, and what we can do is support them as best we can.
And some of the parents mean well.
They mean well,
but they put that extra pressure on the child.
Feel bad because them can't get to put up on them status.
Yeah.
Feel bad they can't make a nice post. I had the post all planned out in my head, and you go past for ABC,
Which is unfair to each child. It's very unfair.
And so the child doesn't feel celebrated. And then that starts a whole cascade of things.
That literally can speak to self-worth, you know, and how one looks at themselves. And that's a whole other box that we can open.
Absolutely.
So we have to be so careful as parents what mirror we hold up to our children.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Tishauna Mullings, Career Advancement Coach at NexxStepp Lifelong Educational Services. More Sunrise after the break.
See the mirror?